Hello, everyone. This is Jeannie White from Social Connections at Passionate World Radio. And today I have Susana Stoica, and she has a cookbook called Cooking After Brain Injury and Easy Cooking Recovery. Again, I want to thank you, Susana, for the switch because I know Lillian was supposed to interview you, but because of technical difficulties, I'm here. So,
nice
welcome.
being here. Thank you for taking over.
Oh, yeah.
So my food doesn't spoil.
Well, that's really cool. I don't know if my mouth and my words are going at the same time, so I don't know if there's a connection issue, but I'm not going to worry about it. How do you want to proceed with this? I know we talked previously, and you do have you have a recipe you wanted to show.
Yeah, I wanted to show people that they will be able to cook all sorts of stuff, very complicated eventually by the time they go through all the 5 books, because there will be 5 books of recipes. They will be really able to feed their family and go to a party and contribute to it. And because my books contain appetizers and soups and salads and main course, side dishes, even sweets.
Even sweets. That's always good, even sweets. So the name of the book is Cooking After Brain Injury. And do you want to show us something, or do you want us to just go into the interview? It's up to you.
Let me show you some of the dishes as an example of what is in the books.
Okay.
This dish is, this is avocado with eggs. Oh, very easy to make. It's in my first book.
Yeah.
It's delicious, and you can eat it. It's very good for people who have diabetes. It evens the sugar.
Oh, okay.
My recipes are also very healthy. Yeah. I transform the recipes so are good for general diet as well as some modifications so it's better for, they would be better for people with brain injuries. This is an example of a side dish. Spring potatoes with parsley. Again, very easy to make, healthy, not too many ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
I have, this is an exotic, kind of an exotic soup. I don't know.
Can you bring it up? Yeah.
Can you see it?
Oh, is that a soup?
That's a soup, and it's an interesting soup because it's mainly used in Czechoslovakia, Germany, Transylvania, which is in Romania.
Yeah.
It's a summer soup made with apples and plums.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a very refreshing soup.
Yes.
And people eat it in summer, of course, when the fruits are
prevalent. Yeah, so you can pick them and have fresh fruits.
Yeah. I have a lot of vegetarian dishes also.
Oh, now that would be interesting to a lot of individuals, the vegetarian piece.
Yeah.
What's this one called?
This is cauliflower souffle.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
Yeah.
Easy to make, and you can make even your kids eat it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of recipes out there now for cauliflower. So that seems to be, this would be very interesting for people to see. Another version of cooking with cauliflower.
I also have a recipe for some cauliflower made in a way that you can replace potatoes, mashed potatoes.
So that would probably help me, Susana.
I also have some more serious recipes.
Oh, all right.
This is a roast. I offer a round roast.
Yeah.
It's a later recipe because it requires more steps.
Yeah.
And these are meatballs with tomato.
Yeah.
Italian dish. Uh, this is originally, this is sweet, originally a French recipe,
Uh-huh.
very yummy, dangerous to your midriff. It's coffee with vanilla ice cream and whipped cream.
I bet that's delicious.
Yeah, it's very good. And I also have, will have in the last book, a recipe for baklava.
Oh, baklava. My mother used to love baklava. Loved
Yeah,
it.
this is a baklava, not the usual one. I changed the recipe and it's not as sweet
Oh,
as
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
the usual baklava. So people love it. It's a recipe that I took 10 years to perfect it. And people were asking me all the time to give them, and I wouldn't give the recipe. So they are looking forward for my book to get the recipe. So this is a sprinkling. These recipes are in different books.
Yes.
Will be in different books. And I am just deciding what to put in which book. I am trying to make the recipes in such a way that they are more and more complicated as you go on. So people should take book one, then book two. So they become more and more complex.
So book one is the first one, the cooking.
Yeah. All will have the same title, only the book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Uh-huh. And how did this, Susana, how did this all come about, these books?
It all started to being whacked on my head twice in the same day. I was a very, very busy engineer at the time, kind of an internal consultant in a major company. And at the same time, I was working in a medical practice as a resident healer, helping doctors to diagnose complicated cases, because I can see what happened first and what happened next in a person's body.
Okay.
Actually in the energy field. And I can tell the doctors what tests to do in order to find the most important
diagnosis
about the illness, because people who don't like going to the doctor and are sick for a long time have many things going out of balance in their body, and doctors don't even know what to start. That's why sometimes they get medications and nothing responds to the treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was also doing healing as part of that practice. And then a nice winter day, I fell backwards on a spot of black ice from standing position backwards, nothing on my head, on cement. And because I fell at the medical practice, I was afraid that the patients would come and one after another will fall the way I fell. So with great difficulty, I went and I got some salt, and when I tried to put it down, I fell second time. And then I wasn't able to function. I speak several languages and I couldn't remember words in any of the languages, forget about phrases. Luckily, by that time, I had about 15 years of working with brain injuries as a healer. So I knew what were the things that I had to do in order to limit the effect of the brain injury. And I did it immediately, but the injuries were too extensive. So it took me years sometimes to find some of the injuries. I was looking for somebody to work with me the way I was working with people. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't find anyone to do the type of work I was doing. And once I was back mentally, I decided that instead of doing general healing, I am going to focus on brain injury to help other people who had brain injury. And that was the result of my book, Heal Your Brain, Reclaim Your Life, because I wanted to make sure that I share my knowledge of limiting the effects, being prepared for, first of all, for a brain injury, limiting the effects of it, and what are the strategies, what are the things that people can do to deal both with injury, brain injury, but also with other injuries which people get as part of the event.
As part of the brain injury, there are other things that happen?
Yeah, people fall like I fell, or get hit by a car. It's not only the brain that is injured. I had major spine misalignments. Even my toes and fingers were out of place. It was so bad. My eye socket, my bones were on top of each other. Ribs were on top of each other. So I gave people an idea of what are the treatments, that alternative treatments that help not only healing, but there are things that can be done only with healing. And I talk about those too.
When you talk about healing, are you doing hands-on healing or energy healing? How is it working? What type of healing? I know I'm a Reiki master. Form of
Reiki is one way of doing energy healing.
Right.
But you can do it in many ways. In my case, I started doing healing at 7 years old, according to my parents.
Well, that was
so it was intuitively. But then I studied Reiki. I am a certified healing touch practitioner, if you know what is that.
Yes.
I studied quantum healing. I wanted to more to meet people like me, to be able to talk to them.
Yes. So, I know a lot that would love to talk with you that are healers themselves in different variations of healing.
Yeah,
it's miraculous what
I am doing intuitively. Basically, I get into the person's field, and wherever my intuition leads me, that's what I work on. All my work is done at a distance.
Oh, you do
distant? I work with the person's picture.
Oh, okay. So you do distant healing then? I know I haven't touched that yet, Susana. I haven't done distant healing yet. Perhaps now that I've talked to you, I may do it.
Yeah.
It's miraculous what can happen to the individual. Miraculous.
I also combined I am also a certified healing hypnotherapist, because I found that the emotional side of illness is very, very important. I thought that it was minor when I started doing healing, till I had one day a lady coming to me and with bulging eyes, because she had thyroid problems and hardly any hair on her head. She was holding her head up because the thyroid was so big, you could see it from the back. And in 2 sessions, she was able to hold her head normally. Her eyes went back into socket. And I told her, now she was on disability, and I asked her to figure out what is she going to do when she is going to be able to work again. And she told me she didn't want to be any better, because she was able to be on disability and she liked being on disability.
Oh, okay.
And I worked another 12 sessions and nothing changed.
It was still the same, her same attitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it wasn't the attitude. Her tests, actually, the amount of thyroid output in her blood went 10 times lower with tests, but it was still high. They didn't budge afterwards. And I kept telling her, please figure out what you want to do, figure out a way to live, because she constantly complained, I can't do this, I can't pay you, I can't. And I said, if you want to do all those things, figure out what you want to do. Wouldn't. She wanted to be on disability.
Well, and I don't mean to be incorrect here, but sometimes it's just that they feel it's much easier.
Pardon me?
It's much easier for them just to be on disability.
It's scary. I think it was scary for her to go into workforce. She told me she had enough time to do all the other things she wanted to do.
Okay, so she made a decision.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell me more. I'm really interested in this book. So when you wrote this cookbook, was this to help you recover yourself?
What happened before I had the head injury, my family refused to go out to restaurants because they were saying that the cooking I was doing, it was much better than any restaurant we could go to. And they liked my cooking, and everybody liked my cooking. And of course, because once you have a brain injury, you mess up your capability to sequence. So doing steps one after another, I couldn't cook. It was absolutely impossible. And my family was complaining that they want my cooking. And I wanted to be able to cook, but I couldn't. I even tried, and I nearly burned down the house twice because I forgot I was boiling something, and I went out of the house. And I remember at the last moment, of course, I burned the pot, but not the house. I was so bad. And then I said it should be a way to figure it, go back. And that's the book is actually the result of the recipes that I worked out. I would work on a recipe for a long time to break it down into tiny steps. Mm-hmm. And then I would cook it, and sometimes I made mistakes. I would make a note of the mistakes, and if the mistake was better than the original, I would change the recipe. So it took about 10 years to write it. Okay. But now I am cooking, as you can see.
Yes, I saw all this stuff. I want to know who's being invited today.
My friends get a warning when I am cooking.
But it was miraculous that you took upon yourself to figure out how to get back to cooking again, which you probably loved. It wasn't an easy situation, but you found ways.
Yeah, and it helped me with being able to regain the sequencing, and with it you regain the capability of figuring out what's more important, what is less important, mm-hmm. which you can't with a brain injury.
No. So did you restructure your, I say I'm not too sure about brain injury, so I'm wondering, was it when you did this, did it restructure your brain to calculate better?
It's not a calculation. It's as a result of my brain injury, I, of course, being an engineer by trade, mm-hmm. I have a PhD in computer design. I was very left-brained, but at the same time, I am very creative. I was always very creative. So before the brain injury, when I did the test, I was exactly in the middle, mm-hmm. Between creative and logical. Yeah. Once I had the brain injury, I wasn't able to think logical anymore. So there went the sequencing, the language, all those. I was completely intuitive. More to the level that the doctors in whose practice I was working had a problem. People were asking them, where did I go, to what practice? They couldn't believe that I had such a bad brain injury. Uh-huh. So they asked me to talk to a few patients and tell them what happened, that I am really not working. So I said, okay, I will do 3. And when they called, I don't know from where, I started rattling out, you have to have this therapy, and then that therapy, and then that therapy, and this is the best doctor. I have no idea where it came from. And after that, I would call the doctor. I said, I have no idea what I said, but I know that I gave some information, because usually I would write it down, give it to the doctor, and the doctor would give to the patient. Yes. But I had a frontal brain injury, so I had no stop.
You just kept continuing.
I gave them, and actually they got well. So my medical intuition just zoomed after brain injury.
Oh, it really enhanced it on you then.
Yeah, my neurologist told me that probably because my frontal brain was affected, I was holding back as an engineer. I didn't want people to know about my abilities, so I kind of put a damper. But once my frontal brain got injured, I had no damper.
Right. It came front. It really did, to show. I know, about people when they're talking about being a healer and everything, that just talking about my personal friends, people are reluctant to believe that these things can happen, that you have the ability to help. And sometimes they shy away from it when they should at least give it a try. It won't hurt to give it a whirl.
Yeah. I think my father had the best attitude. He said, I don't understand what I am doing. He was an engineer too. I don't understand what I am doing. I am sure you have the best of intentions, so you cannot hurt me. So go ahead, do whatever you want.
Just try it.
Yeah.
A combination of Western and Eastern. I consider this the Eastern part for me, the healing piece. I mean, I think it's fabulous to be able to enhance someone's life a little bit, to make it a little more happier and not be so reluctant to try it. And I think more and more people now are trying to, or willing to partake in whatever you and I are doing.
Yes. Actually, the basis of healing, the principles of healing are in every society, are in Native American society, in Aborigine, Australian Aborigine, in shamanism, in energy healing, therapeutic touch, healing touch, you name it, Reiki.
Yes.
So all over the world, people, it's not something new. The old societies before the doctors were using healers.
Of course, that way back into even Roman days, or when the world just became, it was there. They had people that were able to assist. They didn't have physicians like we have now, but they still helped a lot of individuals. And it's just a point of, reading up on it and understanding it. It's not, craziness where people used to think it is.
Yeah, actually, some people are afraid of you if you are a healer. They think that you are going to put a curse on them or something.
Oh, yes. Everything you're saying, I've heard 1,000 times, So you're probably reluctant, because I'm also a yogi teacher, and I also, and these are wonderful, things to have, to be able to provide, for me anyways. But
yes.
Can we just maybe tell people about maybe some of the other books that you have out there, Susana?
When I started doing the healing, I was at a course, and I was doing intuitively the healing, but I didn't realize I was doing it. And I went to a course to learn polarity, which is another version of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And during the course, you were supposed, depending on what element you were working with, it's inspired from Chinese medicine, you were supposed to push into the person's body deeper or not as deep. And when I tried to do what the teacher was telling us to do, my hands suddenly lifted off the person's body. I had no control over my hands and started moving. And I couldn't stop them. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't a very gentle and very firm hand would do it for me. And of course I got scared. And then I went home, and that's how I found out that I was doing since age 7. My dad told me, "Oh, you healed your mom." Mm-hmm. So when I started doing this happened, this event happened, I tried to figure out what happened. My engineering mind was saying, oh my God, I was able to heal this lady from something that doctors were at a loss to figure out what it was. She couldn't breathe after a very bad flu, and they tried all sorts of antibiotic and didn't help. And here I was, in a few minutes, this lady was able to breathe again. And I said, oh my God, if I was able to do it in 10 or 20 minutes, for this lady, if I do the wrong thing, maybe I can mess up somebody, which is incorrect. But that's very engineering thinking.
Yeah, it's another logical. I'll have to tell you though, Susana, I had that. I had someone that was in Quincy, and I went a couple of times to see her when she would come in from China. And she supposedly she had that third eye. And then I would lay down on a table type of deal, and I swear her hands were inside of me, going all over my body, all over my organs. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But she found that there was no real bad issues with me, and I couldn't speak to her because she wouldn't understand me. I had the interpreter there, but it was an unbelievable experience for me.
Yeah. So when I had this experience, I wanted to read something. And all the books which I was reading were very complicated, as you know.
Oh,
They're very esoteric language, and forget it, you can't understand it. So I decided I am going to figure it out, and I am going to write a very, very easy book about an introduction to healing. So that's a book, Reluctant Healer. It's a story of a healing, interwoven with the story how I got into healing. It has answers to the most frequently questions that people usually ask me. And also it has a few very easy energetic exercises at the end. So it's a very easily readable book.
That sounds very interesting. The name of the book again?
It's Reluctant Healer.
Reluctant Healer. Oh, excellent. So you have quite a few books out there.
Yeah, I have the Reluctant Healer. I have Heal Your Brain, Reclaim Your Life. And now the cookbook.
Yeah, definitely the cookbook. But you know what? Can we give somebody, the listening audience here, the name of your website if they wanted to get in contact with you?
It's very easy. healingbraininjury.com.
So that's very easy. Very easy. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I always love to talk with healers. I find it, I learn so much, and I feel so much, I really do feel a connection when I'm talking to them, you know?
Yeah, it's the same language.
Yeah, you know, they understand, you know. Is there anything else that I missed that I should ask you?
No. Anything else you would like to know?
Oh, I could go on and on about the healing piece. I really could. I'm just interested in, you know, I like to talk about a little informality. I mean, it's going to be really fun when if your friends come over today and enjoy all that wonderful food.
Yeah.
And that would be interesting. So how do you feel now with recovering from your brain injury?
It's amazing. It's really, it was a terrible time when I had the brain injury, because I tried to be normal. And everybody around me was telling me, just get hold of yourself. And I was trying to get hold of myself, and it was impossible. And because of the stress of trying to get hold of myself, I started falling asleep while driving. First, I started having out-of-body experiences while driving, and on highway in peak traffic. And then eventually I started falling asleep while driving. And that's when they discovered that I had a brain bleed when I had the brain injury, because it was the first time they did an MRI, brain MRI. And I couldn't function anymore. It was impossible for me to think about anything. It was the worst thing. Going back to work immediately after a brain injury was the biggest mistake I ever made. People have to recover from brain injury before going back. I wasn't able to learn anything new. I wasn't able in the beginning to even talk. Because of frontal brain injury, I was telling people what I believed, telling them off, and I would just say, something
that you would have normally not done.
and using a language which I didn't use before, and they would tell me, Susana, you said bullshit. You never said bullshit before.
There were a lot of things that happened to you.
Yeah.
You
So I was in terrible pain for a long, long time. I had a broken tailbone, which made my mind fuzzy. So they had to put it back. I had years and years of work. I still work, but look, I was able to cook. All that you saw was cooked last night and this morning, which was absolutely impossible to imagine. It was hard to cook one thing per day. And now look how much I cooked.
You cook a lot now.
Yeah. So I am much better. I am able to speak the languages that I am speaking. Actually, I'm learning a new language, and that is for cognitive maintenance at my age. And I am taking care of myself. I completely. I am independent. So I am very grateful to have had the knowledge to help myself. In the end, I put together my own recovery program. Slowly, as I was gaining capabilities, I was working on my recovery.
Uh-huh. So, at the end here, I know we're coming to the end. Is it anything that you'd like to say to the audience about individuals that are presently having issues with perhaps, a brain injury or some other anything that's bothering them that you may be able to enlighten them with?
What I would say is very, very important to limit the effects of brain injury, and don't believe that it's only the first year or year and a half when you can recover. The recovery goes on. I am still recovering capabilities, and I'm 18 years since my injury. But if you work at it, you can recover. Get my book, because in the book you will find a lot of tips of how to recover, how to limit the effects. The book is written with explanations, or at the very end is a reference, which is very easy to just go there and go step by step and apply the things that I am telling.
Excellent. So these books are also, the book you're referring to is the recovery one, or is it the cookbook? Which one are you referring?
I am referring like Heal Your Brain, Reclaim Your Life.
And they can purchase this on Amazon.com.
Yes, all the books are available on Amazon.com. Reluctant Healer, Heal Your Brain, Reclaim Your Life. Those two books are available in hard copy. For now, I am researching how to have a hard copy of the cookbook, because once you have pictures, it becomes very expensive to print, and people can't pay that amount of money. But it's all of them are available in ebook, and it can be on Apple or iPad or PC.
Or any tablet that will.
Yes.
Yes, that's fine. That's excellent. I really want to thank you for being on the show today, and I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to speak with you under these unusual circumstances that Lillian couldn't make it. But certainly I am grateful, and I swear, if you have any new recipes, or if you want to talk about anything down the road again, please contact us and come back. We've been more than happy to have you back on again. I think it's wonderful when people, that something happened and they're able to find a solution from it, and to provide this information to someone else that may have it. I always find that exceptionally wonderful that people can do that. I
know that one of the things I did as a strategy for recovery was volunteering. And I know when you help other people, you help yourself a lot. And it gives you a lot of satisfaction, which is important for a brain injured person.
I always say it doesn't matter, even if you have that one person, that's what you're looking for, that one person that you'll be able to touch. you know, and I think
Yes.
it's wonderful. Well, thank you, Susana, for being on.
Thank you very much.
I truly appreciate it. I just wanted to let everyone know this is Jeannie White from Social Connections at Passionate World Radio Network. And if you need anything or you want any more information regarding this interview, you can email at jwhite7033@comcast.net. Thank you again, Susana. Have a great day. And I wish I was there to help touch that food.
You are invited. Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
Okay, it was fun. Thank you, Susana. Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.